This will be in.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Here.
Mr. Franco.
Here.
Mr. Cabrera.
I'm here. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, the notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice on the bulletin board here in Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing same to the Herald Cape May County, the Gazette Leader, and the Press of Atlantic City on December 7, 2022. In the event of emergency, your exit is your back right, the way you came in, our front right, or your front left. A couple quick announcements. This meeting is being shown live on YouTube and also on the borough's Facebook page as we speak. Anybody watching that would like to call in and ask a question or make a public comment, you're going to use the dial-in conference line, and that number direct is 888-363-4734, and when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 9699020. Just a reminder, everybody, the agenda and all these directions can be found on the homepage of the borough's website. And if you watch the recorded version of this meeting, you can certainly call in later to our clerk, 609-729-8040, or email her at clerk@wildwoodcrest.org. Speaking of the clerk, Madam Clerk, may we have the ordinances, please?
Yes,
I think we have
sir.
one.
The first and only ordinance is Ordinance 1395 regarding the salary ordinance.
Motion that ordinance number 1395 be placed on second reading and final passage by title only.
Second?
Been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1395 be placed on second and final reading by title only.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Ordinance 1395 reads as follows. An ordinance to amend Section 59-3 of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, known as the Salary Ordinance, fixing and determining salaries and compensations of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, and providing for the raising of the amounts thereof by taxation and for the time and method of payment.
Motion that a public hearing now be held on ordinance number 1395.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1395 now be held.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Floor is open for public comments on ordinance number 1395. Hearing none in the room, we'll go to the conference line. Does anybody have any public comments?
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1395 now be closed.
Second that?
It has been moved and seconded that the public hearing on ordinance number 1395 now be closed.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that ordinance number 1395 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second that?
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1395 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have the resolutions. The first is authorizing award of special service contract for trademark patents to Laura Magadoff of Nissenbaum Law Group for calendar year 2023.
Motion?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing the appointment of veteran Michael Marino to assist the Borough of Wildwood Crest in the We Value Our Veterans campaign.
I'll motion it?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing Borough Engineer work order for FEMA grant application, Washington Avenue Storm Sewer Beach Outfall, preliminary investigation at the not-to-exceed sum of $90,000.
Motion it?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing release of escrow funds for permit number SO21-1004 in the amount of $367.50.
Motion?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing release of escrow funds for permit number SO 21-1105 in the amount of $277.50.
Motion?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing certification in the amount of $84,870 to Star General Contracting Corporation for portable toilets contract.
Motion?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is approving annual sewer rates and minimum charges for calendar year 2023.
Motion?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing advertisement of notice to bidders for landscaping services.
Motion?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing the appointment of 3 Class 1 police officers.
Motion?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of contract for Beach Street End Public Access Improvements Phase 2.
Motion?
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is calling for an immediate moratorium on offshore wind development pending a thorough investigation into the unprecedented deaths of whales.
Motion?
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing agreement with Atlantic City Electric to relocate poles and anchors on several streets.
Motion?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing advertisement of a notice to bidders for the Joseph Von Savage pool renovations.
Motion?
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is authorizing waiving the fee required for application to Wildwood Catholic Academy to host a prom procession at Centennial Park on April 29th, 2023, from 6 to 8 p.m.
Motion?
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
And just for the record, the title for the resolution for Atlantic City Electric was to relocate several utility poles and anchors on Orchid, Stanton, Toledo Avenues for the Beach Access Phase 2 project with Atlantic City Electric Company, just for the record.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
Second that?
It has been moved and seconded that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to correspondence. We have none listed. We'll go to our first round of public comments. We'll start with anybody here in the audience. Anybody? Hearing none, we'll go to the conference line. Does anybody have any public comments? Please give your name and address for the record, please. Hearing none, we will move on to, there's nothing listed under new business, but we do have a request. Commissioner Schiff would like to speak to us about Park Mobile.
All right, so with things moving the way they're moving, and it seems to be that we're starting to have some breakdown of our meters and our coin meters, it seems to be a smart idea to move into Park Mobile, which we're already doing. So the advantage of this would be to expand it. I've had a couple concerns about it, and I just want the public to understand that at this point, we can do the online Park Mobile at the meter, and you can also put coins in. But we'd like to expand this area of, and of course the signage would be up there too, for the Park Mobile process. And the areas that were pointed out are going to be the new Arts Pavilion is one spot. The other spot would be the Crest Pier parking lot. The next one would be Scoop Taylor Park. And there's also some talk about doing the bicoastal colors, hotel, motel, condo? Condo. So that's where we're trying to expand to. I just wanted to put that out there. I'm sure we'll be discussing it with the commissioners, but I'd like to move forward with the process. The pluses of this program would be, we don't have someone collecting coins. We don't have anybody fixing a meter. And the opportunity for us to not spend money on those things of having somebody to walk around and collect money really helps. And also, we don't have to worry about the banking, because it's immediate, which will give us a good count, and I think it's a real plus. But that's where I'd like to see us go. I know that North Wildwood has it, and Cape May especially has it.
And people don't have to leave the beach to put quarters in the meters.
Well, that's the big
That's
thing
even
too.
better. So we're taking a step into the modern day times. It's
Are we
good
looking
thing.
at like a
It's good stuff.
kiosk, sir, for those people?
No.
No?
I don't believe so. I want to move away from that.
Okay.
Chief, you have any comment about that?
So, since we started the Park Mobile program, we've been trending away from the coin usage. So folks aren't putting as many coins into the meters as they have in the past before Park Mobile. So we're kind of trending toward the online payments anyway. So with the meters deteriorating over the years, does it make sense for us to replace these coin collection meters, or just go fully online and do the collection totally online through Park Mobile?
So
It's- Right now, we're paying two costs. We're maintaining the meters and we're paying Park Mobile to do the collection. So does it make more sense just to move toward the online and not have to replace these meters?
So basically, we're talking about phasing it in and just not blasting it out there, and see how we can expand it in different areas.
I have no issue. Charge ahead, as far as I'm concerned. It's well, long overdue offset.
All right, Joe?
That's fine with me, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Okay, on the old business, and let's just go through here real quick, see if there's any updates. Back beach excavation is on hold. I'm gonna talk about that a little later. Flood mitigation projects is still some preliminary work being done. Dredging, preliminary work being done. CAFR permit, we're heading into public comment period on that. New Jersey Avenue infrastructure pre-county. So there was a meeting that we had with the county engineer. They're anticipating starting the New Jersey Avenue, that's their roadway, 2025, in the spring of 2025. There is some work Wildwood Crest needs to do, because we own the sanitary sewer, and any other Wildwood water utility improvements as well. So that needs to be done and scheduled for, at some point, we're thinking the fall of 2024. Reconstructing streets plan, that's on hold. North-south street line striping, pedestrian crosswalks, that's on hold. Pool roof and resurfacing, I believe we're out to bid on that now. We just authorized that. Public Works roof, that's pending. Borough Hall exterior in addition, we're still waiting for, I think, a quote from engineering. Outfalls, capacity bulkheads, replacement, that's in queue. Arch Pavilion exterior, we're still waiting for the award announcement, or actually to officially be on the open space agenda, now that we've done the preliminary work. Washington and Seaview Avenues, beach falls and capacity, so we just authorized Mark's firm to do the preliminary work to start looking at that. It's by way of the grant. Seating in lieu of barricades, that's in Centennial Park, I believe that's in queue, right? We have paving, retaining walls, benches planned.
We just need,
Yes.
we
For that?
just need a selection and okey-doke, we'll submit.
Okay,
You
so,
have the color from us, right?
I've got to double check, I think we're waiting for an official, yes, we want
Okay.
that, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
seating in lieu, okay, so I think we can take that one off, that one's already, that's basically just a selection
Okay.
process. So we can take that one
I'll
off.
remove it. Yep.
All right, last one, update landscaping and add lighting in the business district. I know that's being worked by Assistant Superintendent Shear on the beautification. So we're still waiting for information on that. Okay, so that brings us to our second round of public comments before we move into commissioner comments.
Dave McWilliams, 8107. It's old business but not listed. We have a property next to me, 8105, New Jersey. I think the commissioners are all familiar with the condition of that property. I will trust that the code enforcement folks are doing what they can. I will tell you that the front yard looks worse week by week. Secondly, we're coming up on spring, which means we'll be coming up on mosquitoes again. And I know last year there was some efforts made, and I'm trying to understand what, if anything, we'll be able to do differently this year to address the health issues posed by the conditions in that backyard.
The last one, in the back?
Backyard.
Backyard of that property you just mentioned?
Yes.
Okay, so,
I mean, there's standing water. I know we've been through and cleaned out the yard at one point in time. And at that point in time, there was lots of animal carcasses in and around the property. So the question could be is, you know, I know my neighbors were here earlier, you know, this is an issue for the neighbors. We have more of a problem as the weather gets warmer, and I'm just trying to get ahead of it as opposed to behind it.
so my understanding is that everything that you've just mentioned, as far as the process of what Cape May County Health Department and the boroughs through our property maintenance code has been enforced. I believe there's a warrant out for an individual's arrest.
Yeah, that's the last status I'm aware of. The matter is in municipal court. She has been charged with various violations, and it's going through the court process.
Okay, so there's a warrant for her arrest. You pick her up on the warrant, I'm assuming she's gonna go to court, they're gonna, I mean, what happens at that point in time? I mean, okay, so, she's got, you know, there's lots of things she's not doing, okay, so I'm assuming we don't put people in jail for code enforcement violations, I would assume.
Not typically.
Okay, so, you know, so, there's a warrant. Who exercises that warrant? Is that the responsibility of our police department? Is it the responsibility of the county? I mean, who picks her up to take her to where
Well,
we
let
have?
me clarify that. To my knowledge, there was a warrant issued. Whether that's been satisfied or not, whether she's been taken into custody, whether she's been released on her own recognizance, I don't know. So I don't want you to think that there's currently an outstanding warrant. I don't know the exact status of the case. But if she is picked up on the warrant, she has to post bail, and then there is a new court date generated. Eventually, if she doesn't show up to that one, the bail goes up, and she will wind up being incarcerated until she can post bail and show up to court. When it gets to court, it's going to be the judge's determination of what happens, whether that will be fines imposed, and hopefully at that point, we can negotiate some type of resolution. She will allow the borough personnel onto the property to clean it up.
So then am I to assume that until there is a second court date and some type of judge's order, we're gonna be standing on the outside wanting to get in and can't?
Well, we're moving as quickly as possible because we are aware that the warm weather is approaching, so we'd like to have a resolution before that happens.
Okay, so how do I find out where we are on this process with, has she been arrested, released, and has another court date? Or are we just haven't done anything concrete? Because if all she's done is not showed up and we issued a warrant for her arrest. What I heard you just say is she's gonna be rearrested, another court date set up, okay? Which she may or may not
so
show
that's
for.
how the criminal justice process works in this state, in this country.
Okay, so how do is there a way for the public to understand where we are in that?
Well, you're
process?
free to contact the municipal court. It's at 901 Atlantic Avenue. It's held in North Wildwood.
Okay. Because until
They
she
can
has
tell you-
another
They can
court
tell
date,
you the
individuals-
status, correct. They can tell you the status and if there's a court date generated and when that will be.
Okay.
And it's open court, you're free to attend.
Okay, and I think in the meantime, I think there's really I think what I'm hearing is there's two separate issues, right? There's the pending warrant and court issues, but what can the borough do to prevent the mosquitoes and continuing to put the pressure on what we need to do to get the property, the front yard, et cetera, cleaned up? I hear you loud and clear on that. So Commissioner Schiff is, and code and all that, I'll ask, maybe if you could just take a look at that and see where we are, and then hopefully we'll have a better feel.
Yeah, I know Brian Melchior has been involved with it. I know that we've been over to cut that lawn. But we're doing everything we possibly can do that's legal.
Not much lawn left to cut.
Just telling you what we've done.
I appreciate that, Commissioner. And look, I recognize that this is going to be a long process, okay? But the conversation comes up in the neighborhoods, and I'm the guy that tends to come here. I'm tasked with.
It would be great to know one short thing that happens in government, okay? It's always the web. It's never fast and it's never easy. But thank you for your concern.
Okay, anything else? Yes, sir.
Joe Viscomi, 308 Washington. At one point, there was talk of the bike path going all the way down to Jefferson when they do the beach rebuild or berms. So is that still in the plans? I know that we're a couple years out, but is the bike path still in the plans?
So let me talk about I was gonna hold off, since that's tied in with what I'll call the Army Corps DEP dune. So, I was on a conference call yesterday with Lower Township, Wildwood, North Wildwood, and us, with the Commissioner of DEP, Sean LaTourette. So the DEP is basically the agency that's advancing the ball for the Army Corps to get this dune system built. North Wildwood and Wildwood Crest have signed their state aid agreements. Wildwood and Lower Township have not signed their state aid agreement. They have probably a little bit more details that they have to overcome, such as there are owners of privately owned beaches there that they're concerned about, and they're trying to navigate through that. At the end of the day, the commissioner basically issued an ultimatum that said, hey, you have until February 22nd, which is their next public meeting, to decide if they are going to be in this project or out of the project. If they're out, chances are the project's not gonna happen at all. If they're in, then it looks like you're gonna start tracking towards construction. Now, speaking to the Wildwood Crest state aid agreement, in that agreement, Wildwood Crest has three main components as a result of that negotiation with the state. One of which is the approval, or at least the discussion, to allow a bike path on the back part of the beach, whether that be at grade or at the bulkhead level. So yes, the answer is from a state perspective, permitting perspective, the state's aware that the Crest may have an interest, and this has been ongoing for quite some time, as you mentioned. The most recent draft of the master plan for bike accessibility in the Crest shows a path there, as well as some other new areas in Wildwood Crest, Pacific Avenue as an example, which is the county roadway. You're seeing bike lanes and so forth that's connecting the bike lanes to our existing bike lanes on Rambler Road, which will take you up to the oceanfront bike path as well. So it's on the radar, but it's not on the immediate radar, I'll say. All right, hopefully
No, that's great, and I think that would get some of the bikes off of like CU and Pacific. I think it'd be a safe way of people that want to go north on their bikes would be, or whatever direction would be that. Would it be a similar bike path as what's in North Wildwood, down low? There's
So I started talking about the state aid agreement. So there's two other aspects of the state aid agreement. So the bike path was one of them. One was a credit for the fishing pier, because if they do in fact build the dune where they have it placed would actually cover the fishing pier, the beach pier at Heather Road. So they are in there is what they call a LERD credit, which would, if and when the borough would reconstruct the fishing pier, they would provide a credit. I think it's just a hair under $2 million roughly to do that. And then the third part of it is to excavate the back beaches. So under old business, we had back beach excavation. So part of that project is to grade the back beaches so it slopes away from the bulkheads, so it doesn't lay and have low-lying ponding areas in the back beach. So that's part of that project as well. So those are the three things that Wildwood Crest has asked for as a result of signing the state aid agreement with the state.
thank you.
Mayor,
Okay.
I had a follow-up. Dave McWilliams, you said that, I thought I heard you said that if the private beach owners in Diamond Beach, the decline to participate in this, there's a chance that the project doesn't get done at all. I mean, it makes no sense if you can't close the whole beach.
That's correct.
Okay.
So
So should we be rooting for that?
well, so I think there's,
Good point.
I think basically the state's position is that, hey, the private owners, we're happy to meet with them, but at the end of the day, the municipality itself has to be on board. So in other words, Lower Township and Wildwood need to say, hey, private beach owners, we would like to move forward on this. Here's I guess the underlying tone in what I read, or what I understood in our conference call yesterday with the state is, eminent domain is a strong possibility. So they may very well come in here and say, we're gonna put the dune in anyway, we don't care what you say. And it'll be litigated and drug out, but that's a possibility.
How do they address the boardwalk in Wildwood? I mean, there's gonna be a dune in front of between the boardwalk and the beach?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yep. Okay, anything else? Hearing none, I guess we'll move right on to, conference line. Do we have any public comments from anybody on the conference line? Hearing none? All right, we'll go with commissioner comments.
I'll start it off if you don't mind.
Sure.
I've been getting some phone calls about our streetlights outages. And when we ride through the borough, I've noticed more streetlights out. And I had asked our police department, our chief, to look into it and see what the process is to get these lights relit. Chief, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, this is something that we do continuously throughout the year. Our officers on midnight shifts, they check, if they see a street light out, they notify Atlantic City Electric. I did give the governing body a list of the current street lights out that we have within the municipality, which has been forwarded to Atlantic City Electric. And actually, the mayor also forwarded it to, I believe, a contact he has with Atlantic City Electric. So some of these have been reported multiple times. We work with Atlantic City Electric, but we don't work for Atlantic City Electric. And I mean, we can't physically drag them out to change them. We can notify them when we see them and continue to notify them. But from what the communication that I got yesterday, it sounds like it's being addressed.
Yeah, because I've noticed there were 68 reports, not of just one, but 68 problems. So we're on top of it. I just wanted the public to know that we're working on it, and I appreciate the efforts that are being done. Other than that, go Eagles, I'm ready.
I just want to say thank you to the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Department for inviting myself and my wife to their ladies' night this last Saturday. I think it was a great night, heavily attended, and even Commissioner Schiff bought a round, but turns out it was an open bar. So
I like buying them that way.
but I just want to say thank you very much for inviting us. It was a great time. And go Eagles, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so just a couple quick announcements. So I attended a mayor's roundtable with new Commissioner Director Leonard Desiderio over in County Commons, or the county meeting room. And a couple things I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on. One is there was a report by Assemblyman McClellan with respect to the pop-up party bill and the parent notification bill. That's tracking where it needs to be tracking. They're hoping to have it signed before July. The big one from a local standpoint is kind of like there's the HCO rally issues. Looks like there's, basically to give the police the power that they need to impound vehicles and fine if this type of thing happens, which is basically following what Ocean City, Maryland did. So again, keep your eyes in on that. Ocean Wind 1 and 2 update. So we talked about, we did an earlier resolution today about the whales. So there's, just so everyone knows, I think there are 12 municipalities that joined with the county with concern to the turbines and so forth. So don't have any information on yet, but the whale thing is kind of brought it up to late. Whether they're related or whether or not remains to be seen, but that's where it's at right now today. With respect to workforce housing, there is a lot of legwork being done by various business owners in Cape May County, including Wildwood Crest, to address the issue of where do seasonal employees and year-round employees live. There's just nowhere for anyone to live in terms of coming down here to work. So there's, looks like there's going to be a county-wide effort to help all the municipalities with how they can, where they can, you know, is it developer incentives, is it, you know, identifying locations, all that, that's in the queue as well. And lastly, I guess, the big news is the county has received the grant, the American Rescue Plan Act, and they received roughly $18 million for that. They have offered to all of the municipalities at Wildwood Crest a maximum grant award of $400,000 for any infrastructure projects. So that paperwork has been submitted to the CFO. Everybody received a copy of that. Mr. de Blasio, we have pending infrastructure projects, so I'll wait for a recommendation as to where to apply that $400,000. But that'll be a big help, and thank you, Cape May County, for doing all that. That said, I am a Washington Redskin fan, Commanders fan, Washington football team fan. However, I am rooting
you
for the
dare wear it.
NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles. I will be wearing my green on Friday and Sunday, and they won the last time I wore this shirt, so I'm not bad juju. That said, we do have
a
a
closed session, sir.
closed session.
So with that said, the resolution reads authorizing executive closed session in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, specifically NJSA 10:4-12B, with regard to the Policies and Procedures Manual. Can I get a motion?
Motion?
Second, Trish.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Okay, I have 10:01.
Take a